Greetings and welcome back. What I'm about to say now might not be pleasing to the ear of many. Regardless, I feel somewhat compelled, undoubtedly by the gods, to make certain statements and just talk about this. It's been on my mind for a while, and quite frankly, at this point in time, I don't care about the consequences. They're rather irrelevant to me. But I want to primarily talk about the Manosphere, MGTOW, and maybe later on add some points to the video I made the other day. I believe the Manosphere is in a state of degradation, dilapidation. I believe the Manosphere is on the decline. Now, ostensibly, that's not the case. You see more and more information popping up here and there. I'm not talking about sheer numbers. Those of you know Mass Effect 2, the warlord or Kier, when he talks about the Krogan being bred by Saren, the rogue Spectre, and he says, well, numbers are nothing. I don't entirely agree with him, but there's something to that. One super soldier Krogan, potentially, might be worth more than, well, vast numbers. It could go either way, but I think there's little truth to that. The Manosphere has, unfortunately, been devolving for quite some time. I briefly touched upon it in my video the other day. I talked about being perpetually trapped in a 101 course. Imagine, if you will, that you were a chemistry student taking a degree in chemistry at an undergraduate program at university. You don't have any experience, but that's okay. There's a 101 class. You take the 101 class, you've learned a lot, you know your periodic tables, and the next semester you take it again. The third semester you take 101, and then you take it again, and this repeats itself ad nauseum. You never really graduate, although in theory you could. In effect, this is what I've been seeing. I've been seeing a degradation in the quality of the videos out there, a lack of insight, and a very distinct lack of dynamism. Let me briefly talk about Barbarossa. I think Barbarossa's been around the longest, and to the extent that he's still active, he's the guy who's been around the longest and still active. Man, Woman, Myth is retired. He was a source of dynamism, obviously. But he's been around for a long time, longer than I was. Without Barbarossa, there would be no Stardust, in this incarnation at least. And he made a video a while back, and I don't remember which one off the top of my head, you'll forgive me that. He talked about, I think it was with reference to women in the Manosphere and what have you, about when he first entered the Manosphere, he wanted to make videos that electrify the hearts and minds of men. It's a bold statement, but I think in the ensuing years he lived up to that claim. So much so that he inspired many channels, including mine. And I have no hesitation in saying that the quality, whether some of you don't like my videos, some of you do, but the quality of my videos is due in no small part to Brother Barbarossa, because he served as an inspiration. He electrified my heart and mind. He forced me, I've always been a critical thinker, to apply my critical thinking skills to another sphere of existence and to come up with insights. I think that is Barbarossa's legacy, effectively, his greatest legacy. And when I decided to pursue this channel, or Stardust, Thinking-Ape, whatever, when I decided to do this, when I decided to make videos, I wanted to make penetrating, insightful videos to the best of my ability, and I've striven to do that, and I've tried to do that continuously, with every now and then a random rant, admittedly. I tried to move or push forward the envelope, moving from 101 to, I don't know, 102, 103, the 200 level courses, 300, and so on and so forth. not but a few years ago, I mean, there were a number of figures. Karen Strawn, aka Girl Writes What, rose to fame in large measure, although partly due to the fact that she's a female. Her insightful, interesting videos that got us all thinking. Those were the good old days. Those were the days. And this is not me hankering for some long forgotten past. This was not but 2 years ago. Insightful videos about the nature of society, male-female relations, and so on and so forth. The same can be said of Barbarossa, who continues to do so. May he still do so even as I speak. But the kinds of things we saw, the atmosphere of the Manosphere, but 2 years ago, was electrifying. It was dynamic. People were making videos. There was insight. We were learning about the world. And when I look around me now in the Manosphere, when I cast my gaze out on YouTube or the blogs or whatever, I see stagnation. I do not see learning. I see nothing of electrification. I see stale, rehash videos about things that have been talked about 10,000-fold before. I mean, quite frankly, now, this is simply my opinion. I'm not arrogating to myself the right to say what direction the Manosphere should take. And should it continue in this direction, there's more power to the people who want to take it in that direction. But should it reach the point where it's just totally sterile, I will hang up my metaphorical hat and coat and go my own way in a different direction and just leave it all behind. Needless to say, what the Manosphere doesn't need, in my opinion, is rehashing things that have been talked about 1,000 times before, and sometimes it's useful to relearn the basics. The gods know I have forgotten many things in the past, and sometimes you need to relearn them or brush up on the certain skills. But we don't need more videos about your mother-in-law or your mother or just the most mundane things you can think of, and then try to sell that, literally, as insightful, dynamic material. Just, quite frankly, once again, my opinion, I know a lot of people like Honey Badger Radio and Honey Badger Hangout. It's not easy. It's not difficult to see the disconnect here. Karen Strawn, aka Girl Writes What, she rose to fame because of her penetrating, insightful, interesting videos. We all look forward to videos when they were released. Now, despite the fact that I'm an insomniac, I have trouble staying awake listening to Honey Badger Radio. What happened to that? Well, I know she's working on her house. Maybe that's part of it. But maybe she just feels she doesn't have anything else to say. Well, fair enough. I don't really know. Either way. Man and Woman Myth, who had been around the longest, invested tons of energy and time, and eventually, just kind of ate up his time and resources. He's got a son, he's got stuff to do, and he just didn't have the time for it anymore. And he bowed out gracefully, and his material's still there, and it's great, and it can be rediscovered by newcomers and rediscovered by old-timers alike. But that spirit of dynamism, that desire to electrify the hearts and minds of men is all but gone. Even the illustrious leader of Voice for Men, who has, of course, revealed himself to essentially be a politician, one whose primary interest is his agenda, not the people working with him, for him, or even on the sidelines. I mean, he used to make interesting videos, the happy misogynist. Voice for Men has become almost totally PC, totally politically correct. And they still haven't changed any laws. All they do is write articles and make videos. I do that too, and I'm dirt poor. You don't need tens of thousands of dollars to do that. So where is all the dynamism gone? Now, it is true that over time, all movements degrade. Now, this is, of course, not a mirror image of what happened to the atheist movement, but we saw it with Rebecca Watson, Atheism Plus, all this nonsense. We've seen it in the United States with the Tea Party movement, which originally started off as a very much a purist libertarian movement, was co-opted by you know, neocons and the standard popular right-wing Republicans. So all things degrade over time, including movements. But the thing about the Manosphere that was so unique is that people were just coming out, saying interesting things, and didn't give a shit about whether they were, causing offense to people. None of this really mattered. No one was trying to play a politically correct game. It was, at least in a mental sense, some of the most exhilarating time of my life, and I was privileged to be part of that. I don't see that anymore, and that could just be the natural progression of things. Could just be the way everything goes and the way movements go. I said these are just my opinions, but I don't think we need to rehash 101. Now, I think his name is Betty Swalix, made a point. Yeah, everyone's at different stages, and everyone comes into this at different stages and progresses at different stages. Completely agree with that. However, there's tons of old material. I mean, all the stuff that's being rehashed now that we hear in daily doses, that's been stated ad nauseum. It's all there in Barbarossa videos, in my videos, in Manual Myth videos. It's all there. What I don't see is the kind of motivation I had when I first started this channel, inspired in large measure by Barbarossa, to make videos that electrify the hearts and minds of men, to really push that envelope further, to start to push ever forward in terms of critical thinking. How much more can we understand about this experiment we call humanity, and about men's place in it with respects to women? Not about women with respects to men, but about men with respects to women. That is, how women affect men. But it started off as well, I have to say, as something that was just, it was in men's interests. And I want to branch off a little here and talk about something else. Speaking of MGTOW, the different kinds of MGTOW, Sir Mickey of Shrugged, former denizen of Wisconsin and now denizen of the arid wasteland we call Arizona, stated that this guy, Mike Skinner, I watched some of his videos. Most of his videos are just saying that MGTOW's misogynist, blah, 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 same as the feminists, okay? He said, the self-determination versus social change, okay? Well, I'm not really sure if that's accurate, but what I do see a lot of is, quite frankly, when Barbarossa canonically stated in that very that older video of his, I see a lot of men one blowjob away from jumping ship. That's what I see. I see a lot of newcomers who are just despondent and essentially the one BJ away, just ready to jump ship at the best opportunity to hook up with a female. The minute, and this is a problem with the manosphere in general. Any concession any female makes is looked upon as some great victory. Anytime a female starts a channel and makes videos and says, feminism sucks, blah, 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 she's lauded as some sort of celestial figure descending from the heavens. It's insane. But this is the one blowjob away mentality. This is men's endemic need to worship females. You see it everywhere. In the manosphere, outside, anytime a woman does anything that's remarkable, or not anything remarkable, but respectable. Like I watched a little snippet of a documentary on a girl who happens to like mechanics and working on cars, just like many men do. And admittedly, she's talented, but so are many men. And this was, General Motors is going to try to recruit her and all of this stuff. I mean, what's up with that? You'd think that men in the manosphere would be wise to this sort of thing. They're not, because, quite frankly, most of them are just one blowjob away. I mean, that's the best way to put it. Instead of MGTOW turning into a unique movement consisting of critical thinkers who are pushing the envelope and insight into human beings and humanity at large, ever further, you're just guys, I hate to say it, just complaining about women, and that's it, and talking about their mother-in-laws. I understand that that has a cathartic effect, and we've all been there to some degree, but at some point in time, we have to move on, lest we forever be trapped in a one blowjob away stage. A stage, quite frankly, of paralysis. We can't move beyond this. I mean, there's almost, I don't see a single dynamic element in the manosphere at the moment. Barbarossa's videos are very infrequent, so are mine. Karen Girl Writes What doesn't make any videos anymore, and Man Woman Myth, respectfully, and I understand why, retired. I don't blame him. I'm thinking about it too. And I have more time on my hands than Man Woman Myth. It's devoted to other hobbies. So this is what I see happening in the manosphere. This is the direction it's heading in. It's a direction of non-dynamism. It's a direction of stagnation, of endless repetition of memes and themes that have been treated many, many times very well by people like Barbarossa and myself to a certain extent. I would like to see, quite frankly, a dozen new channels spring up with the desire to electrify the hearts and minds of men. Not by repetition, but by new insight. Now, MGTOW in this form is the first attempt to take off the blinders and to understand human beings in the rawest form. We're not trying to not offend people. We don't care. We just want to understand the way things work. How does humanity work? And if most of our content is just a reference to the mundane, we will not get very far in that goal. And it might be that the goal of MGTOW, for all I know, is a completely different one. Maybe it is just to opt out of marriage because the laws are unfair. And maybe it's just waiting until women make enough concessions so we can get our blowjobs again. I don't know anymore. I really don't even know what this whole thing's about. These are just my opinions. They might be terrible opinions. They might be good opinions. I'm just telling you what I'm thinking these days. So I see people primarily just interested in, as far as AVFM is concerned, just interested in pushing an agenda with little regard for, willing to engage in manipulation and of people, and it's become totally politically correct for the most part. Girl Writes What effectively is retired. And don't get me wrong, I like Girl Writes What a lot. I mean, we talked privately a number of times. I'm fond of her. Maybe it's the house. I don't understand why she stopped making dynamic, interesting videos. Barbarossa, I know, is working a lot of overtime, and I think that's the primary reason. In conversations from him. Last time I talked to Man, Woman, Myth was eons ago, but I know he just doesn't have the time anymore. Too much time investment. He's got other things to do, and he's got to raise a son. And as for myself, I actually at the moment have a fair bit of time because I'm still recovering from the surgery, and although things in the not too distant future will change radically for me, I suspect. But I'm kind of at the crossroads now. I'm in the process of preparing a long, big video. I don't know when that will come out, if it does, but yeah, the manosphere is, to my view, in a state of alarm. It is just stagnant. I mean, I communicated the other day with a subscriber of mine who made the astute observation that you'll find much better insight on a PUA site than you will in most MGTOW videos these days, which isn't surprising. The late Coltrane talked about this, that we MGTOW PUAs, and I've said this too, make similar observations often, but leads them to different actions and different consequences in terms of thought and view and viewpoints, world views. But I hope that something or someone comes along, and this is why I was so disappointed by what happened with Coltane, to once again electrify the hearts and minds of men. I don't want to stop doing that myself, but Barbarossa and I often talk about mutually inspiring each other. I kind of need that. I kind of need that. Anyway, I've said enough about that. That's what I think. A lot of you won't like what I've said. You might think I'm arrogant. I'm just telling you my opinion. I could be completely wrong. Who knows? I'm not arrogant in myself. The role as mediator of MGTOW. Maybe I'm not even MGTOW. Maybe I'm so far away from what mainstream going your own way is these days that I don't even know. But if mainstream going your own way is one blowjob away and talking about your mother-in-law and insights that a teenager could have, a prepubescent teenager can have, I don't want to be part of it. Anyway. Despite the gravity of my message here, I still wish you all a pleasant day, and may the gods favor you in all your endeavors. Maybe we'll talk soon. Maybe not. Best wishes to everyone. Bye-bye.